Hey everyone, Laurel here, Minnesota Zone 5A. Just going to do another walkthrough. We've got more life coming up in the garden. I got more cleanup done. It's been warm and then cold and then warm and then cold, and we got some rain the last couple weeks really, but yesterday that we really needed. So first off, we've got some color over here. I always forget what these are called. Early spring blooms, that pretty kind of icy blue. Just real small, petite, low growers. Behind that, there's some foliage from the native tulips that is coming up. And then you can see foliage or buds coming through on this chokeberry. Low scape mound hedger, something, chokeberry. I didn't trim it. I'll have to trim it this year. It was a clearance plant a couple years ago. And a lot of times those clearance plants, after I plant them, or even non-clearance plants, I just kind of let them go for a couple years and just establish their root system before I do any major pruning on them. But it has this one branch that comes up pretty tall here, so I'm excited about that one. Not a lot of life yet on the Heucherella. A lot of these died back all the way because of our cold winter with not very much snow cover during the coldest parts. I had a patch of crocus. You can see a couple yellow blooms over there. Those got disturbed. There's a random one kind of when I moved this hydrangea, the Limelight Prime, out. There were a bunch of bulbs planted around its base. So what I relocated, I stuck over here this little patch of yellow crocus. Crocuses open wide in the sunshine and then kind of close up when it's overcast and at night. So they're kind of half open right now. More of these pretty purple. This one's different color though, since like variegated. Blue and white. More of these. I think I planted this patch maybe new last year. I don't even remember now. The fall is such a whirlwind of getting everything cleaned up and stored away and bulbs planted. Oh, yay, I did. Okay, I thought I planted some over here. Here are some more native tulips. This is a different variety. These species tulips stay much smaller. Maybe, or is that a high? Okay, maybe that's something else. See, you think you'll remember over the winter. Actually, I don't even kid myself now. Sometimes I just let it be a surprise. But anyway, more bulbs coming up. Stuff's looking good over here. There's some tulip foliage, and I have a bunch of allium as well, purple sensation allium. We've got the cat's pajamas nepeta that really sprung up kind of overnight. I have 5 of them in here. Phlox coming up. I did a whole bunch of cleanup in this bed. Somebody's been digging next to my echinacea, though. I never know if it's the squirrels or the cats. I guess if I find a acorn or something, I know it's a squirrel. I don't see any sprout. Oh, they're hiding under these leaves. These are all perennials in here. That's an Amsonia. I almost forgot about this Veronica in here. I do leave the annuals, but sometimes I forget what's an annual and what's a perennial. So I wait till a little bit later in the growing season to do clean out. Sometimes the annuals you can tell though, because like if you tug on them after the whole winter, after they've been in the ground kind of decomposing, they come out really easily, and then you can tell like the shape of the plant can. It's like a peat moss, rather than native soil. So more sedum. This is a lemon jade sedum. I do leave the sedum up into May, just in case there are any native bees or whatever who burrowed down in there. I don't know how common that is, but you can see all the purple sensation. The bigger foliage are the mature ones I planted as bulbs. And there are some daffodils in here too. And once upon a time I had tulips, but those kind of have dwindled. But look at all these little seedlings. All those smaller leaves are purple sensation allium that seeded themselves. They are prolific seeders, which I didn't know the first 2 years, so I just kind of let them be. But now I cut them back before their seed matures and they start dropping seed, just because I don't want them completely taking over. But man, things really sprung up this week. It was the rain and a little bit of sunshine. Really makes things come to life. I have 3 daylilies here. That sort of grassy foliage, those are drumstick allium. Alliums always come up with their foliage first, and then the foliage starts dying off by the time the blooms start coming up and maturing. So a lot of people don't like them because then you've got this beautiful bloom with like dying foliage, yellow foliage. But I don't know, I don't mind. If the leaves yellow before the blooms come up, I just cut off the leaves. And I don't have a huge number. It's not like I have like acres of gardens of allium that I have to worry about workload for doing something like that. Cut back the clematis that was already starting to bud out. They bud pretty early. Cut back the grasses. We've got more allium here. This is another one that I leave up because it has hollow stems that bees like to potentially winter over. And just so I can remember where it is, that is a perennial hibiscus. And they are super late to emerge. They take forever to start sprouting. So here's the other patch of allium. Oh no. Oh no. I just noticed this trellis fell over right onto my azalea. Crisis. Hopefully it doesn't look like it broke any branches. Thank goodness. Rosy Lights azalea. Those were developed by the University of Minnesota because azalea were not hardy here in Minnesota, only rhododendrons. Azalea is like a type of rhododendron, a deciduous rhododendron. And they started, I think, in the 50s or maybe earlier. Maybe it was the 60s and 70s when the first ones were coming to market. But I mean, it takes decades to develop a plant, but they developed some azalea that were cold hardy to zone 4. So the Lights series. I can see I have some little sprouts in the ground over here. I don't usually clean these up because last year, well, in prior years, I've had annuals like my cosmos that I had over here will self-seed. So I'll usually wait and see what the seedling looks like before I do any weeding. What else did I have? I had something else over here. I don't remember now. But aster, phlox, daisies all coming up. Strawberries are coming up. This is going to be a big project. The cats have been tearing this up as a litter box, so once I get to clean that out, I'll have to rake it all out and put covers over it so they can't get in there. They're feral cats. Oh, my chives just all of a sudden came to life too, and I have all this dead stuff. Well, oh well, they'll be fine. I do have garlic coming up. I can probably take these off of here now. They're mature enough. This is my backup garlic, just in case the stuff in the raised beds doesn't come up. I plant maybe like 5 cloves of each variety, 4 or 5 cloves over here, just in case, just so I can get something. These raised beds are fairly new. Last year was the first year I planted garlic in them, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So I decided to do that again this year because last winter was so mild that I was worried if we had a colder winter, it might not come up. And so far, no sprouts. The rest of the garlic is planted over in this bed. I don't see any signs of life. I haven't dug in here to see, but you can see I've covered it up protect it from both cats and squirrels and other digging critters. So we'll give that some weeks yet. But yeah, I worry because they're elevated, and when we don't have a lot of snow to insulate, they are more exposed to the cold. Got pretty far on cleanup over here. Just got a lot of perennials popping up here. I pruned back the shrubs. Got some hydrangeas. I haven't cleaned up all the astilbe yet, but those blooms still look kind of cool. And then this looks a mess, but I'll get to that later. That is a Sun King Aurelia, which looks like a shrub in the middle of the season, but it's actually a perennial, so it dies all the way back to the ground. I did see some leaves. I wasn't sure if these heuchera would come back. These suffered, all my heuchera suffered pretty bad last winter. This one's not looking so hot. Kind of rotted. And the bunnies like really chewed chewed these down to nothing, although I do see a little leaf here, so maybe they will. Again, I leave stuff. Sometimes things just need longer to build up their energy and sprout back again. Half of this, or maybe a third of this lungwort died back and kind of rotted out. That was the issue last summer. We got so much rain early on, the first part of summer, that things really rotted out. So I had, again, I don't know if they'll sprout or not. I had, I do have, see, little Brunnera sprouts. Part of that, I was pulling up like rotten roots from here. Yeah, here's a rotten piece of the Brunnera. But not completely dead. It is sprouting, so just have to wait and see. Cut back all my hydrangeas over here, the firelights. Cut these back pretty hard. They can take a really hard prune. And then anything, well, I didn't get everything in the middle that's crossing over. Like I should cut out some of this branch, but I kind of did a rough prune. And I still have some more over here to work on, although I got the majority of what was in this bed. You can see the drops of Jupiter oregano sprouting down there at the base. And same thing with the Millennium Allium over here. Foliage starting to sprout from the base. I just love these seed heads. So I leave them a little while until I really start seeing foliage, just so that I have some texture, some height and some texture in the garden. Oh, wow, this really sprung up, just boom, out of nowhere. That's the Boom Chocolata geranium. That's cool. Like earlier this week, I was out here doing cleanup and there was nothing. So things are really taking off. I will be digging up a good chunk of this ajuga where it's encroaching on other perennials and taking it to work to give away. And the alliums that I couldn't remember where I put them, these are another kind of allium. Or maybe those were the tulips. Where did I put those allium? Did I buy allium? Oh, brother. Another spring bulb, we'll just say that. I knew I planted something over here late in the season. I think those are the tulips. I don't know. I thought I got some more allium, but no, I can't even remember. There are some old tulips that I mean, relatively, I planted this garden not that long ago because we only moved in almost 8 years ago. But back when this was pretty much all that I was working on building this garden out, and had just planted the shrubs, and that was it. And of course, Costco has such cheap deals on bulbs that I just kind of went gung-ho and bought a big Costco bag and planted them around. You can see daffodils coming up there. Have not yet cut this whole Conocloa grass, but it is due to be trimmed back. Again, I'd like to do it in stages for my energy levels and also just so I have something else to look at. We've got perennial geraniums coming up here. I have 2 more of these heuchera. Those are the ones that I overwintered in the garage, and they are currently on my table to plant. But I kind of want to see what comes back over here. I know I have some Veronica planted that I might be moving a little bit into a sunny spot now that I've extended this bed a little bit. And this was all annuals that I planted, though some of it may come back. They're sort of marginal. And then look at all the blooms that I'm going to have on that hellebore. That's exciting. I want to say it's Penny's Pink. It has like the variegated leaf and pink blooms. And I see a bunch of hostas. There's Virginia coming up over here. I also had foxglove, Dalmatian cream that I planted from seed. Trevi Fountain Lungwort is looking good. That did great over winter. We've got patches of daffodils in here too. Numerous hostas. Oh, cute. So this was a seedling from the Trevi Fountain, and it even has a bloom. It was just like a couple little leaves last year. I just left it there. I don't know if I'll probably have to transplant it because it's right next to this bleeding heart. That's a traditional, like a classic white bleeding heart. So the bleeding heart dies back, but it'll get crowded out. So yay, but that's so cool. I love free plants. A hosta coming up there. I have various hosta. This is sort of mostly shade garden. This is another, I wonder if this is sprouting yet. Another, oh yeah, there's little buds in there. See them coming through? Sun King Aurelia. Still waiting to see if the De Groot Spire Arbovita, I Am Groot, will come back or not. The Viburnum looks good though. This one was, I have to see how this one plays out because I think it got some damage at the base last year and kind of half of it died off. So I'm not sure where the Groot's I Am Groot Arbovita is planted. Was a third of these Bailey's Cranberry Viburnum, and that one completely died. The trunk was completely girdled, so with rot. And I did a little bit of trimming on this dogwood, but this is kind of a big job, so that will be for another day. It's a strawberry daiquiri dogwood. But yep, stuff coming up. I disturbed a cardinal from the feeder when I walked out here. A male cardinal. I wanted to see, oh yes, okay, good. These three heuchera survived. Those are the proven winners one. I want to say spearmint. I also forgot about two hostas that I had planted back here in the summers. They were there all summer. And I just had to jog my memory. But the snake root just sprouted too. That was barely showing any growth the other day. So this is kind of a shade garden. Will be shade again, hopefully, once my tree matures and I plant the tree. This is cool. This is an Artemisia. I don't recall the variety, grown as an annual. But I know a lot of Artemisia, they're like lamb's ear is an Artemisia. There are a lot of varieties that are hardy in our zone, and this one's coming back. So I'm excited about that. The Ajuga over here took a beating, but Ajuga is tough as nails. So I believe it will be fine. A couple daffodils coming up. And see this shrub, this elderberry from the neighbor's yard. Half of it is fairly leafed out. This half has buds, but it's not leafing out as quickly. I wonder if there's something going on with the trunk, if it cracked in a windstorm or something. I mean, these can be cut back hard, but last summer, just towards the end of the summer, like half of the shrub just defoliated. And then I lost all my borrowed shade for my little shady seating area here. So I don't know what's going on there. I'm curious. I couldn't really see with all the weeds and everything coming up last summer, but I do wonder if maybe it got some damage to half of it. I love that borrowed shade, though. I hope nothing happens to that shrub. Then I've got 3 Jacob's Ladder coming up over here, different varieties from each other, just because. I'm going to have to do some weeding again. There's Lily of the Valley encroaching. I don't see it coming up yet. But man, that stuff is rough. Still have to prune these Bobo hydrangeas. Yeah, the Lily of the Valley roots are something else, man. I can see why it's so invasive. Look at these cute little sedum buds. Little roses, rosettes. On that guy, we've got GM, a few other things. Oh, I forgot about this Dicentra. That was there all summer. I don't know why I forgot. And I see Solomon's seal poking up over here too. Lots of leaves on the Kinsley's Ghost honeysuckle. I did do some cutting back to maintain a walkway more. Oh, there's Mama Cat. More sedum popping up over here. And we have another patch of spring blooms. I think these showed up in my last video. These crocus, they're almost bloomed out now. Purple variegated yellow mix. Got a patch of tulips over here from that same Costco pack. And then the dogwood I cut back very, very hard. I should probably cut it back even harder, but it's tough doing that. It's quite the shock. Slightly traumatizing to cut something back. I love this shrub. There's a helicopter up there. So I took it in stages. I cut out the big center branches first and then went from there. But yeah, that needed it really badly. So lamb's ear sprouting a little bit more, lady's mantle, creeping Jenny. You can see we made a little bed area for the mama cat. Poor thing was out in the cold and the rain. I might see about getting a little sort of shelter that we can put in that back corner for her. And then a proper winter shelter for the winter time. 9 bark, I didn't do a whole lot to that. So yeah, not too much excitement over here. Now somebody's running some machinery, kind of loud over there. But that's okay. We had a few, it's been so windy this week. This is like the calmest, windlessest day yet. It's hard to work outside when it's that windy. I couldn't get much done. And then it rained all day yesterday. Oh yes, this hosta is sprouting. I was worried I lost that one. Hopefully the fern, I mean, it feels solid. Okay, so I don't have to worry about too much water now. You can see the beautiful, bright, creeping Jenny here. These are the 2 heuchera that I'll be planting. And then this, look at the color on this candy corn spirea. Isn't that pretty? So gorgeous. The new growth is really bright. I hope this, oh, do I see sprouts? No. See, I get faked out every time. I hope this comes through. It was only $5, the Aureola Hakanakloa grass, but I really wanted that. So, 2 kitties, Tiger and Harriet, in the window. We'll walk up front real quick. Snow shovels still out, just in case. Don't want to curse us with snow. Leave those out. Don't put them away. It could still happen yet, and you do not want to be responsible for a snow curse. I did clean up everything but a couple of the sedum in this bed up here. So everything's kind of sprouting fresh. The 3 in the middle there are crazy blue Russian sage, more of a dwarf variety. I think a lot like the denim and lace variety by Proven Winners. This one I just couldn't get a hold of that at the time, so I got crazy blue. But they are also very late to sprout. They're super winter hardy, but I've had times where, there goes a car, sorry, that was noisy. I thought that they weren't coming back, and then lo and behold, they were just late to sprout. So I did clean up some of the Angelina sedum that was kind of taking over everything in here. Look at this, I just found it. I didn't know these crocuses were here. All right, cool. Otherwise, yeah, things look good. More damage. Usually the Angelina sedum is like bright, kind of orange and green this time of year once it starts warming up. But that is when it has snow cover to protect it from the freezing cold winter. And this year it did not, so it suffered. But it is super tough ground cover. I have some allium over here. I don't know. That's like the dead spot. This little spot right here. I've planted several things in here, and so far all have died, and that allium is not looking good either. You'd think like a tough plant would be okay, but yeah, I do have some spring color in here too, some spring bulbs. And I did plant up my little, I don't know, planter box around the lamp post. I got some violas, some pansies, and then they had these 2 hyacinth. I think I showed these. They're kind of cool though. They're like peachy pink. I wish I had gotten more of these. They are perennial. Really cool color. So they're kind of bending over. I don't know. Anyway, so that'll fill in for the next month or so until I'm ready to plant the begonias that I have ordered for here. There's also creeping Jenny up in here, which is perennial and it is sprouting. I think that had a little bit of a hard time this winter too, just because this is elevated, so it is less insulated. A lot of cutback happening over here. Not too much action yet. Still have to cut back the 2 firelight hydrangeas. and dig out this massive beast of a grass that has really expanded quite a bit. It's a really cool grass, and if you have the space for it, it's really, really pretty, but it's not right for this spot. So it's great while it lasted, while it was small, but I'll be digging that out, giving it away probably. I don't think I have a spot for that to expand. I see a few things, some of the perennials that I planted late poking up too. So that is exciting. Another sedum. I just love those cute little rosettes. There's a ground cover campanula, some phlox. I see a maple tree seedling. And I did plant 2 echinacea, and I had forgotten where, but they are up here, and they are sprouting too. See, when you don't write things down or record them anywhere, it's just a fun surprise when, you figure out what you did later on the following year. And we've got some blooms coming up. This is my favorite so far of the hellebores. That one is the Spanish Flare. This is another variegated leaf one. Also the first year it will bloom. Excited for that. Got some other annuals and perennials over here. These heuchera, again, were hit hard by the cold, so we're just waiting to see if there's any action. I think I do see some. Let's see. Investigate. Oh yeah. They're coming back. Probably have to do a little more cut back on that. Those were absolutely glorious last year. Absolutely glorious. So I'm hoping they do come back. Nice little buds on my Blue Shadow Fothergilla. Excited to see that one. This will be its first full year in the ground. Now we start to kind of take on their gloriousness in a full year. We've got a big old limoncello barberry here. I should probably prune this thing back this year. I mean, it can grow plenty big, but it's kind of splitting too. I'm amazed at how much shade that thing can take. And then these are the daffodils and tulips that are further along than the ones in the backyard, just because it is warmer, insulated over here between the 2 houses, although they don't get as much moisture. But you can see buds on these tulips. These are the same ones, pack from Costco, the first ones I ever planted, that are the only ones that have reliably come back year after year. I'd have to look at the package now. It was probably 6 years ago or more, 6 or 7. So a few patches of those, and then as that foliage dies, I've got seedlings coming up, and or self-seeded balsam, and then I plan to plant some salvia in here too. And I cut back these 2 beautiful Calamagrostis overdam grasses, and I almost forgot about my little echinacea that I planted in here, but that is sprouting. And then usually foxgloves seed themselves in here. So just a glimpse of what is happening. It's just so exciting, as we all know, to see all these things coming back, and signs that winter is indeed over and spring is starting, and summer will arrive eventually. We won't have to deal with this cold. It's been chilly. It's been up and down. It's like we've had some real chilly stretches of spring, and then we've had some real beautiful weather too. That's how it always seems to be. Just about anywhere in this country. I know it's the same for my sister down in Texas, except it's about 20 degrees warmer than us on average. So, but the same up and down yo-yo of the seasons. So, especially the change. But I do like having change of the seasons and having 4 seasons. So anyway, if you watched all the way till the end, thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. I hope your spring is going well, and your garden schemes for the summer can start taking shape soon. Have a great day. Please subscribe. There's some machinery in the neighbor's yard, but these are the branches that I cut out of the dogwoods. You can see just how, and my beautiful Christmas wreath that I need to throw away. But yeah, it was I cut out the most mature branches. You can see how huge they were. So it's not even the biggest one. So I usually offer these to the neighbors because they have a big vegetable garden, and we'll use branches like this as trellising So I've been saving them to see if they want them, since we won't need to mow for a few weeks yet. They've just been sitting here until I spot them outside. So anyway, that is all.